Well, a very good morning to Leanne. Indeed, as you correctly point out, convicted killer Donovan Moodley will be appearing before the parole board here at the Johannesburg Correctional Centre, which is known as Sun City, right here behind me at 9 o'clock this morning. And this indeed, of course, as you've already pointed out, in 2004, he had kidnapped and killed Bond University student Leigh Matthews and was convicted in 2005. Last year, he was denied a parole but turned to the courts, as you pointed out, to have that decision overturned. And part of the judgment related to him receiving a hearing, a parole hearing before the 31st of March, which is in a couple of days' time. But a few days ago, Donovan Moodley again went to the courts wanting to interdict this procedure that is to take place here this morning, basically saying that he had not received all the documents relating to those that would be given to the parole board for this hearing taking place here this morning. It's been a very tough couple of years for the Matthews family, who have been camped outside every single hearing that has taken place here. They will go inside the hearing this morning. We understand that another organization against the abuse of women and men is also going to be here today. The Matthews family has already arrived, and I'm joined by Leigh Matthews' father, Rob, this morning. Mr. Matthews, a very good morning to you. Thanks indeed for your time back here again. I think the last time I saw you was last year outside this very facility. Today, again, those wounds open up as you have to face your daughter's killer.
We really sad that we're here again, but if that's the process, then we'll be here. He's won this on a technicality, so we're certainly hoping that all the information that was submitted last time, if we do it again, we see no reason as to why he should be given parole. And quite honestly, the comment made by the parole board that it would be an insult against justice if he was given parole, we think that still stands, and perhaps even more so now.
So many years on, I can't describe, but perhaps you can as a father, what it has been like for you. While Donovan Moodley may have been convicted for the murder of your daughter, now comes the time where the justice system has to look at whether your daughter's killer goes free. As a family, you've always been against him being granted a parole. You believe that it would not be in the interest of justice. You told us the last time after you came out from the hearing that that was certainly the feeling of the parole board, that it would not be in the interest of justice to have Donovan Moodley released on parole. Talk us through those sentiments so many years later, and what could possibly, should the parole board decide, the freedom of your daughter's killer?
Well, we'd be devastated. I mean, it is parole, but effectively it's out of jail and you live a very different life. So it's parole, but you are free in many ways. For us, it just doesn't sound right. If you take a life and you plan to take that life in the way that he did it, there should be consequences of that. Justice needs to be seen to be done. As a country, we need to understand that there are consequences to these crimes. And yes, there is rehabilitation, which is possible. But from what we've seen from Moodley is that there's been no rehabilitation. I mean, he's vexatious in his litigation. We've had since December about 4 court cases that he's taken. If that's a sign of remorse, I don't know. Is there not something that says, man up, take your punishment? When he was convicted in 2005, we thought, well, now our healing can begin. It hasn't, because every 2 years or so, there's another court case, Moodley trying to find an angle to get out. And he's not guilty, other people involved. So there's so many stories that just keep on going. So that can't be an indication of somebody that's remorseful or going down that path of rehabilitation. So for that reason, we think it would be totally inappropriate for him at this stage to get parole.
do you think has demonstrated that? You've already spoken about the issue of litigation. The latest was in wanting to interdict these proceedings here today, in that he believed that he did not get all the necessary documentation that was needed, which will be placed before the parole board. Do you think that's just one of the indications where he has had or has shown no remorse and just want to drag out this process?
Well, it's certainly he has no regard for the victims. This is a huge effort for my family and Sharon and myself to be here. So, that alone just speaks volumes. You can't have it all your own way. And I think that's where the justice system also needs to stand up and think about what are the victims' rights. We talk about a victim-centric approach to crime, but so far we think it's been lacking. And for so many other people, can you imagine all those other folk out there who just don't even get the opportunities that we've had? They just find that their criminals are out on the street and they don't even have an opportunity to go through the process. It's wrong. It's really wrong.
Rob Matthews, thank you very much indeed. We really do appreciate it. Rob Matthews, the father of Bond University student Leigh Matthews, Leanne, who you'd recall was kidnapped and murdered back in 2004. The convicted killer Donovan Moodley, I beg your pardon, had been convicted in 2005. And again this morning, he will be facing the parole board. And certainly we understand that proceedings are likely to go on well into this morning, into this afternoon, even a possibility, we're not sure at this stage, that it might even drag on into tomorrow. But for the Matthews family that are back here again, they're hoping that they say the justice system will work for them this time, because they believe that their daughter's killer should not be granted parole.